She was mocked, ridiculed, and dismissed not just by her classmates, but by the very teacher entrusted to guide her. The bell rang loudly at Riverside Academy, a private school with polished floors, glass trophy cases, and students dressed in crisp uniforms. For most kids, this was just another day. But for Maya Johnson, it was the first day in a brand new environment. Maya adjusted her backpack, her fingers nervously clutching the strap as she stepped into a crowded hallway. At 16, she wasn't flashy. She wore simple sneakers, a second-hand uniform blazer, and her natural curls tied back neatly. Her eyes scanned the room, and she could already feel it, the looks, the whispers, the quiet judgment. And she knew, where is she from? She doesn't look like she belongs here. Riverside Academy was known for its wealthy students, kids of CEOs, lawyers, and business tycoons. Maya, by contrast, came from the other side of the city, a small, modest apartment where her mother worked 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. But what no one here knew was that Maya had already seen the world most of them only pretended to understand. While they spent summers on yachts and ski trips, Maya spent hers reading financial reports, studying market trends, and quietly investing the little money she and her mom had saved. She wasn't just smart. She was a prodigy. Maya found her way to her first class, Economics 101. The classroom smelled of freshly polished wood, with motivational posters about success plastered on the walls. At the front stood Mr. Thompson, a tall, balding man in his 50s with sharp glasses perched on his nose. He carried himself with authority and arrogance. He was known as one of the toughest teachers in the school. As Maya quietly slipped into a seat near the back, Mr. Thompson immediately noticed. Mr. Thompson, loudly smirking. Well, looks like we have a new student. Why don't you stand up and introduce yourself to the class? Maya hesitated. She hated being the center of attention. Maya, softly. My name is Maya Johnson. Mr. Thompson, speak up. We can't hear you in the back. Maya raised her voice slightly, her cheeks burning. I'm Maya Johnson. The teacher studied her for a moment, then chuckled. Mr. Thompson. And where exactly do you come from, Maya? Maya shifted uncomfortably. From Eastwood. The room fell silent for a beat, then several students snickered. Eastwood was known as a poor neighborhood, the kind people at Riverside often looked down on. Mr. Thompson raised his eyebrows. Eastwood, you say? Well, welcome to Riverside. I suppose we can teach you a thing or two about how the real world works. Laughter rippled through the classroom. Maya sat down quietly, her heart pounding. Later that morning, Mr. Thompson began a lesson on investment portfolios. He turned to the class with a grin. Now, can anyone tell me what an asset is? Yes, Bradley. Bradley, the son of a well-known real estate mogul, confidently answered. An asset is something you own that brings in money. Excellent, Mr. Thompson said, nodding proudly. Then his eyes flicked to Maya. You there, new girl. Maya, right? Why don't you tell us the difference between an asset and a liability? Maya swallowed hard. She knew the answer, of course. She had studied this for years. But the weight of everyone's eyes on her made her palms sweat. Maya, quietly. An asset puts money in your pocket, and a liability takes money out. Mr. Thompson's eyebrows shot up. Oh, so you've read a book or two. Impressive. But tell me, Maya, do you actually own any assets? The class erupted in laughter again. Some students even mimicked her soft voice. Maya clenched her fists under the desk, but stayed silent. Mr. Thompson, mocking, I didn't think so. Maybe one day. If you're lucky, you'll learn about assets when you get a real job. For now, let's leave the serious discussion to those who understand it. The laughter grew louder. Maya felt her chest tighten, shame washing over her. But deep down, she reminded herself, stay calm. They don't know who you are. Not yet. That evening, Maya sat at her desk in their small apartment. The peeling paint on the walls and the hum of the old refrigerator filled the silence. Her mom, Angela Johnson, walked in, exhausted from her shift at the diner. She set her purse down and looked at her daughter's face. Angela, tough day. Maya sighed. They laughed at me, Mom. Even the teacher. He made me feel like I didn't belong. Angela sat beside her, gently brushing a curl from her face. Maya, listen to me. People will always judge you for where you come from, but what matters is where you're going. And I know you. You're going to go farther than any of them can imagine. Maya nodded slowly, her resolve hardening. Then I'll prove it, not with words, but with actions. She opened her laptop, pulling up her brokerage account. Rows of numbers and charts filled the screen. Maya smiled faintly. The next week, Mr. Thompson announced a class project. Mr. Thompson, each of you will create a mock investment portfolio. The goal is to build as much value as possible by the end of the semester. Consider it a little taste of the real world. The students murmured with excitement. Now, Mr. Thompson continued, I don't expect everyone to succeed. Some of you may find this too advanced. His eyes lingered on Maya. The class chuckled knowingly. Maya kept her expression neutral, but inside, she burned with determination. This was her chance at home. Maya poured herself into the project. She researched stocks, bonds, real estate trusts, and startups. She analyzed risk, tracked performance, and built a portfolio so solid it would rival actual hedge funds. Angela watched her daughter working late into the night. Angela, softly, you're not just doing this for them, are you? Maya smiled faintly. No, I'm doing it for us. For every kid they said didn't belong. By the second week of school, the whispers had grown louder. Maya could feel them every time she walked down the polished hallways of Riverside Academy. She's from Eastwood, right? I heard her mom's a waitress. She'll never last here. Maya kept her head down, but the sting of their words followed her like shadows. During lunch, she often sat alone in the corner of the cafeteria, pulling out her notebook and scribbling numbers, charts, and ideas for her portfolio project. But her focus didn't go unnoticed. Samantha, one of the richest girls in the class and daughter of a well-known banker, smirked as she passed Maya's table with her friends. Samantha, mocking, look at her, playing pretend with her little notebook. Do you even know what a stock is, Eastwood? Her friends giggled, tossing their hair and flashing designer jewelry. Maya looked up calmly, locking eyes with Samantha. Yes, do you? The cafeteria went silent for a moment. Samantha's smirk faltered, but she quickly recovered. Whatever. Just don't embarrass yourself when Mr. Thompson announces the results. The girls walked away, but Maya's quiet confidence left a mark at home. Maya's desk was cluttered with sticky notes, financial reports, and an old laptop. The screen glowed in the dimly lit room as her fingers flew across the keyboard. She was researching emerging tech startups, cross-referencing data, and analyzing market trends. Unlike her classmates, who were just Googling best stocks to buy, Maya was studying like her life depended on it. Her mom peeked into the room, holding 2 mugs of cocoa. Angela, still at it, huh? Maya nodded without looking up. I have to get this right, Mom. It's not just a school project. It's a chance to prove I belong. Angela set the mug down beside her. You already belong, Maya. But I know you wanted to see it too. Maya finally looked at her mom, her eyes softening. One day, they'll know who I really am. One morning, Mr. Thompson strutted into the classroom, carrying a stack of papers. Mr. Thompson, smirking. Pop quiz, everyone. Let's see how well you understand the basics of finance. Groans filled the room. He began handing out papers. When he reached Maya's desk, he lingered. Good luck, Maya. Something tells me you'll need it. Maya looked him dead in the eye. Thank you, sir. I'll do my best. The quiz was brutal. Questions about compound interest, return on equity, diversification strategies. Most students chewed on their pencils in panic. But Maya's pencil moved swiftly, her brain sharp and focused. Numbers weren't just numbers to her. They told stories, patterns, possibilities. When Mr. Thompson collected the papers, he smirked again, certain she had failed. 2 days later, he returned the results. Class, the average score was 62%. Not impressive, except for one student. Everyone perked up. Maya Johnson, 100%. Gasps echoed around the room. Samantha scowled. Bradley's jaw dropped. But instead of praise, Mr. Thompson frowned. Well, perhaps you got lucky. Let's see if you can keep it up. Maya remained calm, her face unreadable. But inside, she smiled. Weeks passed, and the class project deadline drew near. Students were buzzing with excitement, bragging about their mock portfolios. Bradley boasted about investing in luxury real estate. Samantha claimed she bought shares in her father's bank. Meanwhile, Maya quietly worked in silence. One afternoon, as she was gathering her books, she overheard Bradley whispering to Samantha, "Bradley, let's sabotage her project. If we mess with her presentation slides, she'll look stupid in front of everyone." Samantha grinned. "Perfect. She doesn't belong here anyway." Maya's heart sank, but she kept walking as if she hadn't heard. That night, she backed up her entire project on a flash drive and created decoy slides on her laptop. If they wanted to sabotage her, she'd be ready. The classroom buzzed with energy. Parents, teachers, and even a few board members of Riverside Academy had been invited to watch the final presentations. Mr. Thompson stood at the front, looking smug. "Today, we'll see who has what it takes to thrive in the real world. Bradley, you're up first." Bradley strutted to the front, showing off charts and graphs about luxury condos and high-end resorts. The audience clapped politely. Then came Samantha, who presented her investments in her father's bank and luxury fashion companies. Again, polite applause. Finally, Mr. Thompson called Maya. "Maya Johnson, let's see what Eastwood has to offer." The room chuckled. Maya walked calmly to the front, plugging in her flash drive. She opened her real slides, a sophisticated, well-researched portfolio with detailed graphs and projections. As she spoke, her voice grew stronger. "My portfolio is diversified across technology, healthcare, and renewable energy. I prioritize long-term growth and ethical investing, balancing risk with sustainability." Gasps filled the room as her slides revealed projections that outperformed every other student's portfolio by a wide margin. Even some of the parents leaned forward, impressed. But Mr. Thompson forced a laugh. "Impressive presentation, Maya. But let's be real. These are just numbers on a screen. Do you even understand what it takes to be an actual investor?" Maya looked at him calmly. "Yes, sir, I do." Before Mr. Thompson could dismiss her, a voice rose from the back of the room. It was Mr. Reynolds, one of the school board members, and the director of a major investment firm. "Excuse me," he said, standing. "Maya Johnson, did you say your focus was on renewable energy startups?" Maya nodded. "Yes, sir. I've been tracking 3 emerging companies for over a year." Mr. Reynolds adjusted his glasses. "That's remarkable, because those same companies recently received funding from our firm. Your analysis is shockingly accurate." The room fell silent. Mr. Thompson's smug smile faded. "Wait, are you saying she actually—" Maya reached into her folder and pulled out a document. "These aren't just mock investments. I've been investing since I was 14. My portfolio is small compared to major firms, but I do own real shares." Gasps filled the classroom. Maya continued, her voice steady. "In fact, I own shares in the parent company that helps fund Riverside Academy." The silence was deafening. Mr. Thompson's face turned pale. You what?" Maya looked at him with quiet strength. "I may be from Eastwood. I may not have fancy clothes or a rich last name, but don't ever mistake that for ignorance. I know exactly what I'm doing." The classroom was frozen in stunned silence. Maya stood at the front, her presentation glowing on the big screen behind her. Her words lingered in the air like a thunderclap that no one had expected. Even Samantha and Bradley, who moments earlier had been giggling at the thought of her failure, sat in shock, their smug expressions wiped away. Mr. Thompson swallowed hard. For the first time since Maya had entered his classroom, his arrogance faltered. Narrator, serious, dramatic tone. In that moment, the teacher who mocked her, the classmates who ridiculed her, all of them realized that the girl they thought didn't belong had outsmarted them all. And worse, she had done it quietly, without ever needing their approval. Mr. Reynolds, the board member who had spoken up, stepped closer to Maya. Mr. Reynolds, curious. "Maya, may I ask, how did you get started in investing?" Maya hesitated, then answered honestly. My mom and I started small. She saved every tip she earned from working at the diner. Instead of spending it, we invested. I learned everything I could: books, online courses, financial reports. At first, it was just a few dollars, but over time, it grew. The room buzzed with whispers. Mr. Reynolds nodded slowly, clearly impressed. Remarkable. Most adults can't manage what you've accomplished at your age. He turned to Mr. Thompson, his voice sharp. And yet, this is a student you mocked? Gasps echoed. Mr. Thompson's face turned red, but he remained silent. The silence was broken by Maya herself. She looked directly at Mr. Thompson. Maya, calmly, you asked me once if I own any assets. You laughed when I didn't answer. I stayed quiet because I didn't need to prove myself. But now you know, I don't just understand assets. I own them. The word struck like lightning. Mr. Thompson stammered. I didn't mean... But the damage was done. Parents in the audience exchanged disapproving looks. Students who once laughed at Maya now avoided her gaze, ashamed. For the first time, Mr. Thompson, the man who prided himself on control, looked powerless in his own classroom. News of Maya's revelation spread quickly through Riverside Academy. By lunchtime, whispers filled the cafeteria. Did you hear? Maya actually owns shares in the school's parent company. She's an investor. At 16, Mr. Thompson must feel like an idiot. Students who once mocked her now eyed her with curiosity, even respect. Some even tried to sit with her, offering compliments that fell hollow. But Maya didn't bask in their attention. She stayed true to herself, sitting quietly with her notebook, her cocoa from the cafeteria tray untouched. Samantha finally approached, her voice softer than usual. Maya, listen, I didn't know. You're really smart. Maya looked up, her expression calm but firm. You didn't need to know. You just needed to treat me with respect. Samantha's cheeks flushed, and she walked away without another word. That evening, Mr. Thompson sat in his office, staring at the stack of ungraded papers on his desk. But his mind wasn't on the work. It was on Maya Johnson. He replayed the moment over and over, his own words, dripping with arrogance. Do you even own any assets? And then her quiet, devastating reply. I own shares in the company that funds the school. His pride stung. He had mocked her, belittled her, and in doing so, humiliated himself. For the first time in years, Mr. Thompson questioned whether he had truly been a teacher or just a gatekeeper who pushed students down instead of lifting them up. Meanwhile, Maya returned home to her small apartment, greeted by her mom at the door. Angela had heard the news from a co-worker whose child also attended Riverside. Angela, teary-eyed, smiling. They said you stood up there like you owned the place. Maya, I am so proud of you. Maya hugged her tightly, burying her face in her mother's shoulder. I didn't do it to embarrass him, Mom. I did it because I was tired of them laughing at us. Angela kissed her forehead. Sometimes, the best revenge is simply showing them who you really are. The next day, Maya was called to the principal's office. Nervous, she walked in to find not only the principal but also Mr. Reynolds, the board member, waiting for her. Principal, Maya, we want to congratulate you on your outstanding work. Your presentation has inspired many of us to rethink how we view our students' potential. Mr. Reynolds leaned forward, smiling warmly. I also have a proposal, Maya. Our firm runs a mentorship program for young investors. We rarely extend invitations to high school students, but I'd like to offer you a place. You'd learn from some of the best in the business. Maya's eyes widened. Are you serious? Very, Mr. Reynolds replied. You've already proven you have the discipline and intelligence. We just want to help you grow. Maya's heart raced. This was more than validation. This was opportunity. Later that week, as Maya packed her books after class, Mr. Thompson approached her. His usual arrogance was gone, replaced with humility. Mr. Thompson, quietly, Maya, I owe you an apology. I misjudged you. I let my biases cloud my judgment, and for that, I am sorry. Maya looked at him, her eyes steady. Thank you, but it's not just about me. It's about every student you've underestimated. Don't just apologize to me. Change how you treat the next person who doesn't look like they belong. Mr. Thompson swallowed hard, nodding slowly. You're right. I will. Word of Maya's revelation didn't just stay within Riverside Academy. Within days, local newspapers picked up the story. Headline: Teen investor stuns prestigious school, outshines teacher in bold presentation. Soon after, community leaders began talking about her. Some praised her discipline, while others criticized the school for allowing bias and humiliation in the first place. At the grocery store, people recognized Angela and congratulated her. You raised one incredible daughter, a woman said at the checkout line. Angela smiled with pride, though she remained humble. For Maya, the attention was overwhelming. She had never sought fame. She just wanted respect. In the hallways, attitude shifted. Bradley, who once mocked her, approached nervously. Hey, Maya, I know I wasn't nice before. I'm sorry. If you ever, want to help me learn about investing, I'd listen. Maya tilted her head, studying him. She didn't want to make him feel small, even though he had done that to her countless times. You don't need me to teach you everything, she said calmly, but I can show you where to start. The rest depends on whether you're serious. Bradley nodded, embarrassed but grateful. Other students started taking notes differently in class. They no longer laughed when Maya raised her hand. Some even leaned in, curious about what she might say. Slowly, the culture of the classroom began to change. Weeks later, Maya began attending the mentorship program offered by Mr. Reynolds' firm. Walking into the tall, glass-walled office downtown, she felt nervous but determined. She was introduced to a group of other young entrepreneurs, college students mostly, and a few professionals who were eager to share knowledge. At first, some underestimated her because of her age. But when Maya explained her methodical approach, saving, studying market trends, reinvesting dividends, the room fell silent with respect. One mentor, a seasoned investor, leaned forward. You remind me of myself at your age, but you're starting earlier, which means you'll go further. Maya left the session feeling a mix of pride and responsibility. She wasn't just investing money anymore. She was investing in herself. Back at Riverside, Mr. Thompson wrestled with guilt. He began quietly observing how he interacted with other students. When a boy from a low-income neighborhood struggled with a math problem, instead of mocking him, Mr. Thompson sat down beside him. Let's figure this out together, he said softly. It was new for him, humility, but he was learning. One evening, he looked in the mirror and admitted something he had avoided for years. I became a teacher to inspire. Somewhere along the way, I became bitter instead. Maya showed me what I should have been doing all along. He resolved to change point one Saturday morning. Maya checked the mailbox outside their small apartment. Among the bills and flyers was an envelope with her name written neatly. Inside, she found a handwritten letter. Dear Maya, your courage and intelligence have inspired me more than you'll ever know. You reminded me that true education isn't about who looks the part, but who shows up with discipline and passion. I will strive to be better, for you, for your classmates, and for myself. Sincerely, Mr. Thompson. Maya read it twice, stunned. Her mom noticed the tears in her eyes. What is it? Angela asked. It's from Mr. Thompson, Maya whispered. He's apologizing. Angela hugged her daughter. That's because you didn't just change your life, Maya. You changed his. Months passed, and Maya continued her mentorship while balancing school. She began tutoring younger kids in her neighborhood, teaching them not just math, but also basic financial skills. At the community center, she gathered a small group and said, You don't have to be rich to start. Save a little, learn a lot, and don't let anyone tell you that you don't belong. The children listened, wide-eyed. Some of them reminded her of herself. Underestimated, overlooked, but full of potential. The year flew by, and graduation day arrived. Maya walked across the stage in her cap and gown. Her classmates cheered loudly, not out of pity, but out of genuine admiration. Even Samantha clapped, her expression sincere. When Maya shook the principal's hand, She spotted Mr. Thompson in the crowd. Their eyes met briefly, and he nodded with respect. For the first time, Maya felt fully seen. That night, Maya sat by the window of their apartment, staring out at the city lights. She thought of everything that had happened. The humiliation, the whispers, the revelation, the apology, and the growth. She whispered to herself, "They thought I didn't belong, but I always did. I just had to remind them." Angela, sitting nearby, smiled softly. And now, baby, no one will ever forget. Maya Johnson entered Riverside Academy as the girl they mocked, the one they thought didn't belong. But by standing tall, by letting her knowledge speak louder than her insults, she became the youngest investor they had ever seen. She changed her classmates, humbled her teacher, and inspired a community. Her story proves that no matter where you come from, no matter who doubts you, greatness cannot be silenced. Respect is not given, it is earned.